Biden did. That was similar. But he also reiterated the rights of Palestinians and how
All business today. The guns are in an insurgent. Get it to the buyers and your job is done.
So that is something we have not heard from the other Western leaders who have made their way to Israel. Just want to ask you, when you compare Macron's address and his speech to the ones made by Joe Biden and Rishi Sunak, do you find a difference?
No, I don't, in the sense that both Biden and Sunak are also articulating the rights of Palestinians. They recognise that Israel must be able to work with the Palestinian people. I think that ultimately down the track, you will need some sort of two-state solution to come into effect. But that's not going to work so long as you have radical elements such as Hamas, Hezbollah, and of course, puppet master Iran. Trying to undermine peace and stability. I think if Hamas can be decisively defeated, if Hezbollah can be deterred, and if necessary, if Iran can be deterred, then you have the potential for some sort of post-conflict peace process that could ultimately lead down the track to some sort of durable peace.
Sir, Macron also suggested that the international coalition fighting the Islamic State terror group should be widened to fight Hamas. Now, do you see this as a message for the United States? Did he say something which perhaps Joe Biden is not wanting?
Look, I think what the Americans do will largely depend on what Iran does in the next days and weeks. Iran ultimately is pulling the strings not just of Hamas and Hezbollah, but also other radical Palestinian groups around the region. And if America forces to attack from these groups, then America will need to retaliate against those forces. But I would also say retaliate against Iran directly. And I think the Israelis would be fully supportive of that. But at the end of the day, once the fighting is over, there has to be a durable peace. You have to win the peace as well as win the war. And so therefore the Americans need to work with the Israelis and with the Palestinians that are not involved in attacks on Israel to try and find some sort of lasting solution that means we can move from this constant state of war to ideally a state of peace.
There's one more thing I want to just so humanitarian aid which used to make its way to Gaza. Earlier there used to be 500 trucks which used to get into Gaza. Then there were, as of now, they currently need actually stuff to get at least 8 to basic. As out of those 100, 20 were allowed to pass per day, and now finally only 8 have made it. So do you feel a ceasefire or a pause is imperative as of now? Do you feel Israel is going to stop?
Look, I think that what we're seeing is a delay on the ground invasion by Israel to try and give time for hostage negotiations to occur and to potentially give more opportunity to get humanitarian aid in. But the risk is that a ceasefire would be exploited by Hamas, Iran and Hezbollah to build up capability or to even launch further attacks. So I think that ultimately the Israelis have been backing into not respond to what happened on October the 7th, but at the same time they have to respond in such a way that doesn't actually make the situation much worse. And personally, I'm not confident that delicate equation can be realised.
Sir, just taking this from what you said and also what my colleague mentioned, and just for better clarity here, with all these diplomatic efforts that we've seen and the pressure that is now building up, Israel still maintains that it's on track for the ground invasion. But how likely do you think that is at this point?
Well, they can't not go in. That's the simple truth. If they don't go in, then Hamas ultimately emerges as victorious and will move bold to attack again. And I think that Israel cannot tolerate an October 7th happening again and again and again. So I think that Israel has made quite clear that they will go in on the ground in a large scale. What they have to do is do it in such a way as it doesn't create more problems for Israel in terms of leading to massive civilian casualties or radicalising more Palestinians.
All right, Mr. Malcolm Davis, thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us on the show. We'll join us next month.
Thank you.
And as Israel's air raids in Gaza continue, the IDF chief has reiterated that the military is now ready for a ground invasion, signaling that the soldiers are waiting for a go-ahead from the administration as of now.
כל זה פיקוד הדרום, תוכניות התקפה חוקיות להשגת יעדי המלחמה. אני רוצה שיהיה ברור, צה"ל מוכן ציבורי, ואנחנו נקבל החלטה ביחד עם הדרג המדיני אודות המהות והעיתוי של השלב הבא. בשלב הזה ישנם שיקולים טקטיים עד אסטרטגיים.
While earlier on Tuesday, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was seen visiting and speaking to Israeli soldiers of an elite engineering unit, which is stationed near the border with the Gaza Strip.
Deze ultrastille kachel verwarmt je ruimte in minuten voor praktisch 0 kosten. Het is draagbaar en energiezuinig. Deze ruimteverwarmer wordt de Tesla onder de verwarmingstoestellen gebruikt.
Tesla.
Hij kan een ijskoude kamer binnen
Ja, Tesla. Ja, weer verwarming. Ja.
20 graden. Zonder installaties en de elektriciteitsrekening. Deze krachtige verwarming is gemaakt door Dirk de Graaf en Johan van Sloten, 2 ex-ingenieurs van een van de grootste technologiebedrijven ter wereld. Ze wilden een effectieve, veilige en betaalbare manier bieden om huizen te verwarmen.
אנחנו עומדים לפני השלב הבא. הוא בדרך.
Kankerlijn.
אתם
Sterren.
יודעים את זה. אתם חלק מכל החיים.
En Israël.
יש לי הערכה עצומה. למה שאתם
Hitler.
לרוח הלחימה שלכם.
Hitler.
והנכונות שלכם.
Kijk hier graag,
שאנחנו נצליח בזה. ויש לנו רק משימה אחת. לרסק את החמאס. לרסק אותו. ואנחנו לא נפסיק עד שנשלם את זה.
Meanwhile, Israel's greatest ally, the US, has asked the country to exercise caution. The reports reveal that the White House has advised Netanyahu-led government to delay its ground invasion plan of the Gaza Strip. Washington has made this request to allow time for the release of hostages and also send shipments of aid into Gaza. All this as the grave humanitarian crisis